Hi guys and welcome. It's Amanda Creative Gardener here. I'm trundled up, well not trundled up, but with my hoodie because we were actually in quite a windy spot and so it's quite chilly out here. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. So what I wanted to show you was some of the plants that just happen to appear and why that may be a good idea to leave them to grow. So come on, let's have a look. Okay, so wandering around the garden, I find it, well, I found it a really good idea to wait and see what some plants are. And when you do come across plants, if you've got the space, then give them a bit of time. And if it's not a plant that you want, you might move it or put it in a pot and give it away. Or, I mean, right here now, there's two different plants growing here. One of them I don't want to be there, and one of them I'm just loving. And this particular one here is blue vervain. Now, I didn't plant this. It just started growing. Seeds may have been dropped by a bird. What I'm finding here is that it might be a little bit dry. In this particular bed when it rains, because it's the top of the slope, the water will drain quite quickly, but it had died back but is coming back, as you can see, and it's got some lovely little purple flowers. And I've still got to find all the properties that this blue vervain has, and also look at maybe moving this or taking cuttings from this or taking the seeds, because I'm thinking that the seeds are there, and these brown bits here, not the brown bits, but these bits here, I'm thinking that that's the seed. And yeah, so I've now got blue vervain. I did find another one in another place and I've potted that up just to see how it grows in a semi-shaded spot. So this particular one here is not necessarily one I want growing here, and it grows low, but look at the leaves, it's got pretty leaves, so I don't want these two competing here, so I'm going to move it. And there's some here as well, and what it seems good for is ground cover. These actually do have quite deep roots, so I can either try and get this particular one up, and there's some more growing there, or leave it, because in this particular spot here, this is, has become a semi-experimental spot. Now, all of these rocks, since it's rained, they've just come back. What I had done was put down Mexican sunflower, and you can see some of this has the leaves have decomposed, that the sticks are just left and they'll in time. I've got my coconut tree here. It's taken its time to grow, but again, I'd planted it when it was in the dry season, and now we're getting more rain, then I'm hoping that it'll just shoot up. I'm not sure. I don't think it is a dwarf one, and it probably will try and grow. Let me show you my neighbours. Look at that. I don't know how tall that is, but he doesn't harvest the coconuts, and that's not going to be the case here. Got some grass growing, I need to just get rid of that. I'd recently planted some, I'd separated the aloes and I've just put them along here. So again, they were having a bit of a hard time, but since it's been raining, it's been fine. The other thing that I planted here and that seemed to be doing okay are pomegranates. I just thought, they're really quick and easy to grow, low maintenance, but what I'm gonna have to do is cut more of the Mexican sunflower and just really give a good covering over this particular spot. I had also planted here the pomegranates that are deep red, but nothing came up. So maybe I should have started them in a pot and then potted them out, although they don't actually like being moved. So I'm just going to show you the other vervain that I've got that seems to be doing quite well. Okay, so this is the other one I found growing, and it was growing in a spot where the guy who normally cuts our grass would have just cut it. It was amongst, other things, or just grass really. So it's actually doing quite well and growing. So I'm thinking, well, if it's growing well under here, this is almost like where I am, like an understory. I've got the Pride of Barbados here, I've got a moringa tree here, and it's just in a little area that I wanted to create like a raised bed. There was nothing here but rocks. This is like rocks. So I've layered down Mexican sunflower, a bit of soil over time, and it's broken down, and I just keep layering Mexican sunflower, and they seem to be doing okay. But I'd put these in my makeshift pots, and again, if you're on a budget, there are ways, rather than going out and buying more plastic pots, you can utilize large bottles, make sure they're clean, washed out of any disinfectant or whatever it is, leave it for a time, and then you can use them. So this plant looks really healthy, so I'm thinking that it's doing quite well under here. So that's the blue vervain. I did also find these 4 plants that I'm not actually sure what they are. Let's start with this one here. I'm just gonna have to take time to identify them, so maybe when they flower. So this one was one that seems to grow low and provide good ground cover. It seems to be a ground covering plant. So I put it in a pot because I was trying, where I'm wanting to put it, I've tried before just removing it and putting it in spot, and they died. So I thought, let me give it a chance. But this has tiny little clusters of flowers. You can see kind of there. So that's one. I've still got to identify that particular one. This one here, excuse me, the snails seem to have found it as well. I was thinking amaranth, but I don't know why. But again, this would have, all of them would have, medicinal properties, and you just really have to make sure that you identify them really well. This little one was growing in a spot where I'm trying to create a hedge, and so it had to move. And then this pretty little one here, I'm not sure what she is, but she's very pretty. I like the leaves. Look at them. So that's it. So they're the ones I've got so far. Just going to give them a chance and see how they do. Who knows, this might be work out to be some sort of tree, a fruit tree, who knows, berries, I don't know. Yeah, so as I said, it's important to make sure you try and identify the plants you have, especially if you want to use them for medicinal purposes, or like, herbal teas and things like that. So I hope that's been useful. I've got some more to show you next week, and hopefully by then I would have identified them. But I'm very pleased with blue vervain. Really am pleased to have that in the garden. So look around your space. Something that you think might be a weed might actually be a treasure. And so if you are going to pull them up in a space, put them in a mini pot and see how they grow. Okay, so take care for now, and I'll see you next week.